So again, my video keeps running out on me. So after the events phase, you go into the spring, which I just showed the seasons there. You've got the economy phase, so that's what we didn't see in the Marengo phase. You've got the income step, so you calculate province income as per the resource charts, and so there's charts on it's like major powers resource charts here, which show various provinces and the resources. I think there's more. Oh, that's minor country force setup. Here, yeah, trade chart and production chart. So in the sequence of play, when you're doing your income step, doing your province income, then you do your trade income as per harbor values. So if you see on the map, any of these harbors, like the blockade boxes, any ones that have numbers in them, that's trade. Corsairs attack, escort fleets, the Spanish gold. So if people who've played Empires in Arms will recognize some of this stuff in here. This is very, in fact, a lot of the game is very reminiscent of Empires in Arms, but the movement and combat and stuff is much different. But the kind of general theme of the game, if you will, the goals of the game, the elements of the game, and especially here is just seeing it through the sequence of play, very reminiscent of Empires in Arms. Subsidies, you can give money away. Production reinforcement step, you build your new units and deploy in capital or fortress, replenish existing cores, and build naval units and deploy. And I haven't looked in the production rules what the time frames are. Like I know, on EIA, when you're laying your ships in, it's going to be a whole year before you're going to see those ships. So I'm not quite sure what the time frames are. Just looking here, there's a production chart over here, but it doesn't appear to show the time frame. So, oops, sorry, I'll have to look that up. Leader deployment, again, similar to EIA, it has its own phase. If you miss putting your leaders where you want them during deployment, you're screwed. Then you go to diplomacy phase. In the spring, you've got player negotiations, spring and summer. Notice there, 1872 and Turkish instability get their own little section. Then you've got announcements. Each player in sequence makes all desired announcements, alliances, ententes, broken alliances, declarations of war. Confirm alliances and ententes, make entente transfers, resolve declarations of war. So all this is like sort of very formally run through in a very established sequence. Diplomatic actions, you've got your minor powers, and I believe that's where you're taking control, and so forth of your minor powers. Unplayed major powers, that's if you're playing with less than 6 players or 7 players or whatever the one player for major powers is. Alliance credits optional. Haven't even read about that, but there is a little track up there at the top of the map. It's that little alliance credits track, but I have not read that rule yet. And where are we? Down to the initiative phase. This is where you put the initiative markers in a pool. And then you got your activations. This is the heart of what we just did through the Marengo scenario. And you draw and activate as you go. And there it says no flip-flop on land, which means you just can't have 2 in a row. When pools is empty or winter quarters effective, the phase ends. And when you have winter quarters in there, that can end up leading to a very short term. So your turn, so you got to be careful. Final attrition phase, that's when you do your supply and attrition checks mandated by the turn. Some attrition checks you'll do during movement and activation, as we saw in the scenario. And then conquest phase, you've got your conquest of minor power, conquest of major powers, and then your sort of winter housekeeping type stuff. And then you do your victory phase, checking for victory, doing your victory point adjustments, and then you advance the turn marker and start everything over again. So again, in my mind, very similar to Empires in Arms. You know, what you didn't see here was lots of card play and diplomacy and that sort of thing, which all is very interesting, I'm sure. I doubt I will do more videos on this, just because there's a lot of content just running through here. And what I'll do for the game going forward will be largely for my own education and edification, and won't involve me actually, you know, doing step-by-step video through diplomacy and all that kind of stuff, especially if I'm soloing it. It's not going to be arranged diplomacy. So I do intend to try and play the game. I would like to get this in front of my old EIA group, and do, you know, a full-blown multiplayer session of it. And I think, given how similar it is to Empires in Arms, and with the rules rewrite, I dare say the rules are actually better than Empires in Arms, which I always felt had really horrible rules. You know, the mechanisms and things in the game are all very good, but the rules themselves in Empires in Arms are, in my opinion, just terrible. So I think with this rule rewrite, these rules are actually fairly clear to me. You know, I haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of card play and diplomacy and that sort of stuff and production and so forth, but all that seems clear on the map and in the player aids. With the rules rewrite, the rules seem pretty straightforward to me. I have not read the original rules, so I don't know how bad they were. What I've read is that they were unplayable. So, in my opinion, with the rewrite, this seems eminently playable to me. So, we shall see.